Welcome, everybody out there in BC WrestlePod land. Thank you for joining us tonight for the Just Three Gents podcast. We are here with Mikey El Jefe, with the Professor John, and with myself, JVL, here to go ahead and review AEW Dynamite Big Business from Boston, Massachusetts, right down the road from me. And we're going to give you our thoughts and our opinions on what went on, take you down the road of what kind of happened over the night, and see what you think by the end of it. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Join us on the couch here. We love to have you. If you're a very seasoned BC WrestlePod fan person out there in land, we are so happy to have you back. The snacks are ready, and John is definitely ready with the foot massages. So we are good to go here, other than we need to set up a couple things of our housekeeping, which is if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. Hit that alert bell so you know that all of our new content's coming out, because we do something almost every day. It's great to have that. Comment on our videos. Also, make sure that you let us know you're there. We really want to engage with you. Follow us on all the socials at BC WrestlePod. We are the Biconics, but we do that there. And as well as on Twitch and on our Patreon as well. We do live watch-alongs where you can see what we love to talk about during these big shows. Finally, if you can't do anything with us digitally, and I do mean digitally, come see us in person, grab us with both hands with consent, and give us some love down at New Jersey WrestleCon, May 18th and 19th, the East Coast Wrestle Talk. I almost said Wrestle Talk. Wow. The East Coast BC WrestlePod boys will be tabling there with a few guest stars from around the country, and maybe some other fun people. So please come visit us there. We'd love to see you there as well. I think that covers all of that stuff. If it's your first time here, we're going to jump right in here, talk it through, give our opinions as we go around in a round robin, and then we're going to tell Mikey that while his opinion is sound, we don't believe what he's been saying. So to start us off this evening, we jump right in. First off, you know, it's just, we're going to start it off big. We're going to do the big, like, CM Punk comes out for the first dance entrance, where it's just music out of nowhere. It sounds like Gunther's theme remixed a bit. And then all of a sudden, you know when a wrestler can tell you how to chant for them, or like says their own name in their songs, and you're just wondering, like, how am I going to make this into a chant? This one tells you, not once, not twice, but 9 times in the first minute what you should be screaming, as Mercedes Mone makes her AEW debut with us on Big Business. Gentlemen, were you shouting CEO from the top of your lungs as soon as this started?
Yeah. How do you not? It got a little weird because I was watching and grading papers at the start of this, and then stopped grading papers immediately. So everyone got grades CEO. I'm going to have to answer for that eventually, because 2 of those don't work. This was a blast. This was so much fun. I love watching her. It's been a long time. I remember Sasha Banks. I remember when it was that iteration at another promotion. I'm really excited to see her work. And then we got to see it booking and jumping to the end. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was so happy to see that. This crowd went nuts.
It's her hometown. Are you expecting?
Enamored by her. I forgot that she was born in Fairfield, California, which is where I used to live and teach and started some of my career stuff too, which is amazing. Like, oh my God, I know her, that old neighborhood she was in. But she's a Boston girl for sure. So happy to see her. You could see her getting emotional about it being there, and the fans and everyone, her family there, which they showed a few times. Like, it was fantastic. So
and her promo was from the heart. Like, she gave us so much there.
Some of these, and we've talked about this here a few times. Some of these wrestlers that can get heart and genuine, I don't want to say personalization because that's actory, but like speak truth into the microphone. And more than just, let me tell you a story about when I was a kid. Like, that's not helpful.
I'm sorry, what's Steve Austin?
Yeah. Or some of the other ones was like, your dad was great to me, but I still hate you. Like, okay,
Steve
fine.
Austin, that's all I'm hearing.
So, hey. But I was lovely. It was, and her hair, gorgeous. Like,
Mikey, I know you were plotting for this. You were so excited.
I've been anticipating Mercedes coming into AEW for the longest time. I feel like this was the worst kept secret of professional wrestling within the last few months or so. Eventually, she would find her way to AEW once her New Japan contract and her Stardom contract were up. Well, New Japan, I should say, not Stardom. I can't be more happier for Mercedes than I am now, especially being we all were there watching the whole saga, her and Naomi walking out because the women's tag team division was not being treated correctly. Spoiler alert, we're still having that kind of issue right now, but the fact that they had the nerve and the courage to walk out of a multi-billion company to kind of take a chance on themselves was amazing to watch. And I'm still not over Michael Cole burying them on live television. How dare you? And to see where both of them have gone, Mercedes taking the New Japan route, Trinity going to TNA, and me, Will, and Andrew got the pleasure of being able to watch her work for almost a whole year before she decided to go back to WWE. But with Mercedes, again, being able to leave WWE, kind of do her own thing, train in the independents, go into New Japan, have some amazing matches before getting injured against the likes of like Kyrie, and that match with Willow prior to the injury was great. She's just fantastic. And I'm so excited for her to mix it up in AEW. There's a lot of matches I already have. I mean, we teased one within this promo too, because she has unfinished business with Willow Nightingale. That is a match I am ready to see.
I was going to say, you brought it up when you were talking about that earlier. Definitely like that. This is a huge final, like, I'm going to get my win back because you only beat me because I got injured. Like, that's a huge, huge storyline.
And just some other things too, like eventually I would love to see Deonna and Mercedes. Serena versus Mercedes has been teased on Collision right now, which is fantastic as well. And of course, eventually I want to see Mercedes and Timeless Toni Storm. Like, these girls are going to mix it up. It's great. But even so, like, because we have a lot of Japanese talent too, I wouldn't be mad to see Mercedes versus Reho, especially that little interaction we got before our main event tonight would be fantastic.
No, yeah. the entirety of the roster has now opened up. The dream match possibilities are there, and this set the tone for the evening. This was how we're going to rock Boston. It's going to be great.
I was going to say, like, this is another one of those tide that lifts all boats things, right? Like, now you hope Tony Khan does the right thing. It's like, okay, great. Now lean on the women's division. Start booking the hell out of this thing. You have so many avenues now. Use it.
You've got the talent. Let's go for it. But we also have talent in the main event scene, because we go backstage and we have Samoa Joe is talking to Renee about getting set up to take on Wardlow tonight on a Dynamite. So, which means we know that Wardlow's probably going to lose this, which that's a whole different thing. But I love what Joe was saying out here. He's like, Wardlow, I see you. You're being sent out by lesser men for crimes you didn't commit. And I love that line, just the way the turn of phrase. Joe is just on fire tonight as he's doing that.
Sent forth by lesser men for crimes you did not commit. Like, the Samoa Joe's sense of rhetoric and poetry in the ring is not lost on me. Still easily one of the top 3 promo guys in, I would say, across wrestling in general right now. Like, every time Samoa Joe talks, it's like, I am now listening.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked this promo, and I felt great about it, which is probably why the one that comes after really confused the hell out of me.
Yeah. No. I have thoughts on that afterwards, but yes.
It's like, wait, what? We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, we will. But this was definitely Joe setting up what was going to go on tonight and kind of just tipping his hat to the finish of the match almost. Mikey, how did you feel seeing Joe kind of almost look like he was riffing by himself?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with John here, Professor. Samoa Joe has always cut a really fantastic promo. I still remember when he was in another company where he did an ad-lib of a promo and he decimated 5 other men on the mic and had some of the best lines, and was not afraid to go there, because that whole content of that promo was to the fact it was like ruling in real life issues of like marital problems, the fans not being over with certain individuals, a certain someone's like past with narcotics got brought into the promo. It was crazy. I want this man to read me a novel. I want him to do Shakespeare is what I want to see. And now presenting Samoa Joe doing Othello.
Please do an audiobook of Othello or Richard III or like the history plays. Like, give me some tragedy, Samoa Joe. Let's go.
He'd be Iago, though. He wouldn't be Othello. Like, that's the huge thing.
He'd be such a... Oh, him as Iago?
So...
Oh.
I need to know if this man has any, like, prior theater background, because I can't necessarily put it into exact words, but there's a certain, I guess, je ne sais quoi, if you will, that... Joe has behind his promos. So I was like, this isn't just saying things to say things.
And
you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a tangent, and I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. But we talked about this when it was him versus MJF, where it was sort of like MJF was forcing it because MJF can get the bump set spike of a joke, and was so over in those moments it worked, but it was so relaxed and fluid and calm coming from Samoa Joe that MJF just kind of got mute and flat in front of him.
It throws you off when you're not used to dealing with that and having everything set up for you. So we had that kind of general easy feel. Samoa Joe's just giving it like it is. We cut to a pre-taped story time with Adam Cole promo, and I wrote down in my notes, a pre-taped, since Adam Cole got completely owned last week about trying to actually be on a microphone with any of these people. This was terrible. This was a terrible promo.
I really wanted to like it. I saw what they were doing, but you can't be in a fancy Boston mansion with dollar store picture frames taped to the wall. You can't be reading from a Wardlow coloring book.
Yep.
You actually have to do a hint more production value to sell this. I saw what they were doing, and they took a shot at it, so fine. But after that Samoa Joe, I'm just gonna riff poetry on the mic, and then this Adam Cole thing, like, so close. Well, maybe
not even close. It wasn't even in the ballpark.
Not close.
I'm just like, how dare they rip off Malachi Black?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
So, okay, when we initially got this, before it was revealed who was behind the book, I was just like, are we bringing back, like, Malachi Black, like, evil stepfather reading the, like, horror stories? And then it was Adam Cole. I'm like, how dare you tease me with something that I thought was going to be good?
How dare you, sir?
How dare you? I bite my thumb at you.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
I mean, I understand they probably moved Adam Cole to do a pre-tape. I'm like, because you got destroyed on the mic.
But the problem is when you have it follow Samoa Joe's instead of like maybe preceding it, you set the tone against yourself. You're not going to get anywhere with this. And again,
I know we're supposed to take
the end of the match. We knew how the end of the match was coming.
I mean, we knew where it was going, and honestly, I know we were supposed to set up the Undisputed Kingdom as like the, oh my gosh, this faction's about to run anything. I'm like, y'all look like a bunch of clowns right now. I was like, what is happening?
It's a little like the kids who think they're cool in high school thing, right? It's not coming off the way I think they want to be hitting. So either they really need to lean into that or pivot, because they're losing a lot of their power, and they were over this maybe the first 10 days of this, and now it's kind of petering out quickly.
They need something that's going to give them heat, and there's only one way I can think of at the moment at the top of my head, but I don't like the option because it screws somebody else out of something that I think they deserve. But we can save that for after the match.
Yeah, because we jump in right from there. We go to the Samoa Joe Wardlow match for the title. Mm-hmm. First match of the evening is a title match. And first off, I was like, wow, Joe's entering first. Champions don't get prerogative. Wardlow's getting the big entrance at the end. I don't understand why that is, because he's not as popular and everyone's chanting Joe. But yeah, we go right into it, and this is a big Haas meat fight. And Wardlow spent most of the match, dishing it out as best he could and faking injuries and going back and forth. But we all knew he was about to get basically squashed, which is what ended up happening.
Yeah, they were snug, as our friends would say here. Like, they hit each other hard. I just read that they were a tag team at one point. Is that true?
I literally wrote that down, where they were like, wow, I have forgotten so much of Wardlow's career, and the fact that he has been so generic in what he's done, I forgot they were tag team
like 2 weeks. Really?
Yeah. Apparently.
I didn't know that at all.
No, I didn't remember it.
I thought they worked really clean. I thought they were fun. There was that wild thing Wardlow did, that half a butterfly twist off the rope thing. And at first I thought their heads collided until the replay, and then I went back, and it looks like as they came down, Wardlow's elbow got the back of Samoa Joe's head, and they were like Samoa Joe hit the mat and then landed and came up and off, which just means momentum is a thing.
Physics.
And then as I was watching, it was cut to commercial, and I was like, no, I want to watch this. We were in picture-in-picture land, and the camera had to cut away, but there was a good 10 seconds where they were talking to each other. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you this? Are you that? So they obviously respect each other, know each other really well. A lot of the stuff outside the ring was super cool. I absolutely respect how strong and powerful Wardlow is, especially because there's some of those things that he did to Samoa Joe that would seem impossible. But Samoa Joe's so good at being fluid and selling it and the timing and stuff. Like it worked. This was fun for me. I hardly took notes the second half of this because I was like, oh my God, these are just men slapping the meat. Holy crap. So I had fun watching this.
Mikey, did you feel satiated by all the meat you got to enjoy?
It's a lot of meat.
I enjoyed this match a lot more than I thought what I was going to originally be. I like Joe. I like Wardlow. I knew what the ending was going to be. I feel like we all did, which is fine because now it's going to be important to see how they follow up with this loss for Wardlow. And I thought this was a fun match. Of course, what made me even more excited is about what happened afterwards, because now that I will say, initially when we got this announced, I was like, wow, they're not wasting any time. We're just going to throw Wardlow into this match. I would have thought we would have dragged it out to Dynasty and then, Swerve would be next in line. But apparently AEW's like, nah, we're getting through it big business, which makes me a little trepidatious as to where we go from here, because now that Wardlow is one and done for now,
Yeah.
I'm very worried about who is our next challenger and what's going to happen with them, which, we'll talk about in a sec.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But at the end of this, as Wardlow is down and out, Swerve comes down to with a chain and getting blocked out to come down and take out Samoa Joe.
And destroys the locals. My God, those poor security guards were just... whoever got hit with the chain sold that like a murder.
Yeah.
At the top, just down. Like, oh no!
Is that the same one that Joe then kicked afterwards, like kicked off the ramp?
Yes, Joe kicked him off the side.
Yeah.
I thought that was really fun. If you're gonna do it like that. I'm glad the local hires got some work on this one. That was a lot of fun. Oh, Mikey's upset. Why upset?
Mikey's upset.
I'm not upset. I'm just
Mikey,
really worried.
What happened?
I'm worried. I'm worried.
You're disappointed? What happened?
See, I love how two people are putting words in my mouth that I did not say. I love
You're
it.
so sad.
Stop.
I'm really worried for Swerve because
You're so worried.
I thought we were going to be getting Swerve and Joe a lot later, but it seems that as of right now, we're priming them to have this match to happen at Dynasty, which makes me worried. I think the Undisputed Kingdom sticks their nose in that match at Dynasty, which costs Swerve the title. And then we have to have Swerve go through the Undisputed Kingdom, which is like cool in a sense, but then that has Swerve be busy forever. How long we're going to do that, which then leads me, I was like, oh, I don't think Swerve is getting this title anytime soon. I don't think he's getting in at Dynasty anymore. And now I don't even think he's getting in at Double or Nothing.
I agree with you, and that's kind of disappointing. Yeah, we're kind of stuck in between the storyline, right? You want Joe to have it for a certain amount of time, and I'm sure Joe wants it for a little while, and then you want to have Swerve earn it a certain way, but now you have this faction in the way. And what do you do with Wardlow now that Adam Cole's reading bedtime stories from his coloring book? I agree. I think it's going to get kind of messy, but I think they might milk this for the greater part of 2024. Like they're just going to keep putting it underneath.
They need to lean into the mess. That's the best they can do with it at this point because they've already put themselves in it.
Sure.
Kind of like the mess we had afterward because we then had a promo from the EVPs with Okada, which, at first I'm like, oh, that's right. Okada his English isn't wonderful. So obviously they would have the EVPs be his voice. But then he jumps on and speaks perfectly. It's like, all right, no, then why is this Why is this happening?
He was great at the end. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like this faction. I understand it. I just don't like it.
Yeah. We've talked about this EVP madness. I thought it was funny that it's his birthday, sing happy birthday. And I was like, did Tony Khan get the rights to happy birthday? You know, they'll charge you a lot of money to sing that song on TV.
I mean, if you can pay for the final countdown, I'm pretty sure you can afford happy birthday.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Well, happy birthday is expensive. That's why it's never sung in movies and other stuff, because it's ridiculous. Kind of a meh promo. It's fine. I see where we're going. I see what we're doing. I still don't. I kind of wish that they lingered in the loss that they just took, but it seems like they're right back to we're the greatest tag team in the world, we're the greatest faction ever. It's like, you just lost 10 days ago. I'm like, come on.
But did they?
Bam, bam, bam.
Mikey's just sitting there smiling.
I like Okada. It's a smart idea to have him be a heel. I understand why he is with the EVPs, given their prior history on the independents and in New Japan as well. Yeah, they're gonna find their way to the finals of this tag team tournament.
Yep, they are.
Sure.
Which I was like, they're gonna become tag champs by the end of this thing. That's been my prediction for the longest time. Which I'm just like, fine, whatever. My options are either them or FTR, and I don't like either of those.
And that's the thing we need to like kind of be against here is like, you know, they keep saying like get back that feeling, get to where we need to be again. That isn't this. This is just same booking the whole time. It's really feeling that. As we got into the match after that too, because we had the EVPs and Okada taking on Pac, Penta, and Kingston. And, you know, it's the same match that we saw, you know, a while back. It's the same match they've had for a while. I did love that the EVPs slipped off the Cody Vader going down the stairs. Like they nearly ate it
right away. Which led to a thread in our group chat of how many steps do they have? Well, this they have like how do they? Yeah,
I love the. I just learned that AEW has stairs, but you know because that also means God forbid that the EVPs or Okada become disabled in any way. They're not going to be able to get off that elevator now. How do you make a thing made for to be more abled for other people be less abled?
I will say. One thing I did like about the addition to this entrance is the fact that it could have went horribly wrong. The fact that they mostly got the timing right as soon as, Matthew dropped the coin onto the floor and then Okada's theme hit, which I was like, I like that touch. The match itself, I was happy to see Okada continue to wrestle. Notice how I said Okada and not the whole entire team. That's because I'm a big fan of Okada, especially as one of the few people here who actually knows his career in New Japan. That other person being JVL here, who probably know a little bit more about Okada too.
Oh, Andrew probably does.
And Andrew too. Why didn't we get Andrew to do Wrestle Kingdom now that I think about it?
Andrew knows everything. And Andrew we trust, man.
But anyways.
Yeah.
I also like seeing 2/3 of Death Triangle and the King of the Bums team up, which was fantastic. I am super happy to see Pac back. Like, I missed him.
He is so, like, he hasn't missed a beat.
He's yoked every time. I just think he's just doing sit-ups when we're not watching. Like, guy is just
He is the human embodiment of Mighty Mouse with his stature and his big old ears.
How tall is he? Is he small?
For a wrestler, yes. But he's also...
For a wrestler, he is. He was part of the Cruiserweight division, which,
215 and under, yeah.
Yep.
He's 215? He looks like that?
He's less than that. They said 202.
Harvey, guy's a boulder.
He has no body fat on him. He has literally just...
None.
A thing like
just looks like such a monster.
He's what Taz wishes he was when he wrestled. But...
There's a sequence in... I'm trying to find it right now. There was a sequence of like 6-7 moves in a row somewhere in the middle here. Yeah, Pac jumps over, jumps on the rope, hits Okada, does the kip up, and then there's just 8 things in a row right after that. Boom, 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 boom,
it was
boom.
Nice to see Penta pull out the Canadian Destroyer again.
Yeah, beautifully.
Well, after that gnarly looking like Casadora into a front face.
Yes, thank you. That's what I'm trying to find.
So
Yeah. I love that Eddie's calling Okada out the entire time, like trying to come fight me. He looks right at him in the beginning. You're a bitch. I don't know if we can say that. Sorry, I don't mean to edit that out. Sorry. You're and then keeps going. That's my fault, John. I apologize to editing John. So I think that was a lot of fun. Yeah, this was a fun match. I know we've seen similar things, and I always have my trios, thing, and I think they fell into some of the traps. But
Like a low blow to end it.
yeah, well, it felt very makeshift, sort of like, all right, bring it home, let's get out of here, and wrap it up, boom, and it's over. But I had fun though. I enjoyed this. I wasn't rolling my eyes at this. They had me engaged, so they were doing something right.
Bruv. Just bruv.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Okada wrestle. I missed Pac. I'm really excited for the match we're getting next week due to this, what we saw, because we're getting a Continental Championship match, Kingston versus Okada next week, which has me super hyped.
They're going to chop the hell out of each other. It's going to be crazy.
Yes. And I'm really hoping that something happens where we get a rematch at Dynasty. You literally have a pay-per-view called Dynasty. Like, give me matches where I was just like, wrestling is never going to be the same, at least for a couple of months.
I was going to say, so Forbidden Door, but better. Because Forbidden Door can be awesome, but this is now like, no, this is all now about like the crowning. It's Night of Champions meets Forbidden Door. As best I can say.
And
I don't know.
According to, if reports are to be believed, another international company is going to be joining this year's Forbidden Door, which, if you've been paying attention to AEW television for the last month, not a surprise, but I'm excited.
AAA. Anyway, we move on to, as we said for Bruv before, we have another promo. Will Osprey coming out again to cut another big promo. He is proving to everyone that he can actually hold himself on American TV, which was apparently one of the reasons he didn't get a lot of money from WWE. They didn't believe he could cut promos. So they lowballed him, and that's why he chose AEW. He was like, they're trusting me, and I can have amazing matches.
That was the reason?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's one of the... If that's true, someone should be fired for that. What a dumb... that's why WWE is where they are. I mean, a $3 billion company. Fine, but there's...
That's why they have a Prime bottle in the middle of their ring. Anyways.
God, freaking blah, 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 blah. All right.
Professor wasn't there for that conversation. Me and Minnie had a fun time talking about that one.
I believe it, but this was such, like... I love that he brought up Bryan Danielson, both that he both reveres him, but also wants to prove him wrong and show him what he's all about. It was so heartfelt and wonderful, and he's just so gruff and beautiful. I love it.
If he doesn't make a Bruv t-shirt soon, I'm going to be upset. Like, he needs to capitalize on Bruv, for reals.
Yeah. The crowd was all in on it. They were repeating things back to him. You could see Osprey getting emotional and like having the fans behind him. Like I love that he's in AEW and thriving. Like I'm really excited to see what he does. He's probably on my shortlist pick for wrestler of the year. It's coming. He's already his only 2 matches of the year are on my shortlist for best matches of the year already.
Yeah, it's unsurprising. It's unsurprising.
Yeah. I am going to throw Minnie under the bus a little bit, just as much as he is like a huge stan for Kenny Omega. I am the same way when it comes to Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is going to be that person for me. Okay. And funny enough, me and Andrew have been talking and going back and forth with it, and we both have kind of come to the agreement that for both of us, Will Ospreay is probably our favorite and the best wrestler of the 21st century in his generation of wrestlers for me. And I'm so happy that people are now starting to realize how great both in-ring and on the mic Will Ospreay truly is, especially here at BC WrestlePod. And Professor, you said that within the 2 matches that he's had in 2024, he's on the short list for your favorite male wrestler of the year. If we go back to 2023, me, Andrew, and a bunch of other people listed Will Ospreay as our male wrestler of 2023.
Sure.
And for those of us that watched the little indie promotion TNA, like him and Josh Alexander had not 1, but 2 banger matches. That Speedball Mike Bailey, Will Ospreay match from Bound for Glory is forever going to live rent-free in my head because that was just 17 minutes of pure, unadulterated wrestling madness. But shout out to Speedball Mike Bailey because he's also on my short list for Wrestlers of the Year too. How incredible he is.
Will Osprey had picked up Kenny Omega's baton of having the best bout machine. That's where he is right now.
My favorite part of this whole entire promo was when he was getting emotional and he said, "There's a saying around here that we've been trying to get back in AEW is restore the feeling, bruv. I am the feeling."
And he's not
I got
wrong.
I got literal goosebumps when he said that. I was like, "Oh, he's all, pun intended, he's all in to try to make AEW get back to what it was like in 2021 and how amazing we were talking about it."
Which is weird because we had the stuff with the EVPs, which is the stuff we don't want. So it's like they're slowly changing, but we'll hopefully get there.
I love Will. He's great.
He is. And then we had another pretty good promo from Deonna Purrazzo, kind of going over that she's still coming for Toni Storm.
Yeah, it's a little undercooked.
Yeah.
And like little short to me. I mean, still strong, but sort of I wanted a little more out of it. But I don't know if that was one of those, hey, cut for time or speed this up or whatever else. But yeah, I agree.
There was an edit there that seemed weird. It just like it was.
There was, right? I'm not crazy. It felt like there was a. I don't want to go look for it, but yeah, I felt like there was a weird choppy thing. I don't know.
Mikey, you're the Deonna expert here.
So, like I said before, I think at some point between now and if we're getting a rematch at Dynasty, I still believe that we should probably start turning Deonna more heel because her virtuoso heel character is probably the best work. I love Deonna's in-ring ability, but her charisma exudes more when she's a heel than when she's a face. And I'm excited for this eventual tag team match we have between Toni and Mariah May as well as Deonna. My question I want to pose to the gentleman here is, I don't who do we think Deonna has in store for her tag team partner?
Will Osprey. It would be amazing.
It would be terrifying, is what it would be.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I weirdly feel it's going to be Madison Rayne because she tried to injure her.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can see Madison. Now, I wonder. I mean, that could be a possibility.
How very Adolfo of you to ask us to do your homework for you.
Well, I mean, my pick would have been Mercedes, but since she's kind of preoccupied with Willow, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
If we pull... Now, I'm thinking about Deonna's history with a whole bunch of people. And given our roster, if I'm being completely honest, I would not be shocked if it would be Deonna teaming up with Thunder, too. Because there is prior history, too. Because remember, Thunder and Deonna had a feud back in 2021 over La Reina de Reinas Championship when Thunder was, champion in AAA.
No, yeah.
So
she's got a couple of ideas.
Or she might even pull a crazy stunt, and she might pull Taya too, because she also has history with Taya.
Or does she pull someone that Tony's got history with in the company and really throw that? So you get a Britt Baker or a Jamie Hayter or someone that
Oh my God! If it's Jamie Hayter, I would die. I would die. Because there is rumors that she is almost ready to go. So who knows?
That'd be cool. Where's Britt Baker?
On tour. She was at South by Southwest.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, she's ready to come back. She's been saying she needs some time. So.
All right,
it's what it is. But we then jump from Deonna's promo where she ends it with watch for the shoe because it's going up your ass. And
which the crowd cheered for that in a way that I don't think it was intended. But maybe
we see you, wrestling fans. We see
there was
you.
a little bit of a thump in that joke. And I was like, oh, what?
It's like
Boston. Boston.
We go from that very freakish Boston to watching a man get thoroughly ripped apart by another man.
Oh my goodness.
My match of the night, Switchblade Jay White versus Darby Allin, where basically this is Jay White is going to make sure that Darby's written off TV and go fully heel in the process. And this was the Jay White we have been missing for months. This has been amazing.
The wee bit of... Go ahead.
This is the former leader of Bullet Club, Switchblade Jay White, that I've been wanting since he came to AEW. And Jay needed this. He needed this badly. And not to fault Jay, because this is not his fault. This is booking and backstage fault for not utilizing Jay White's strength. And this was the perfect way to remind everyone why he is considered one of the best heels in the 21st century of the wrestling business. This was much needed, and I was super happy to see this.
This wee bit of ultra violence to go straight to the Clockwork Orange, as you could. Crazy. And Darby, taking the risk. And I guess I have a feeling Darby's not going to Everest. I just don't see him getting cleared medically to go.
No, he's going anyways. He's still going.
I mean, it's just. Part of me was wondering in this match, like, oh, he didn't get cleared to go, so you're just gonna maul him, or it's just like, let's write you off TV forever.
Side note: someone photoshopped Mount Everest. It's just like Darby, as soon as he gets to the top of Mount Everest, she photoshops Darby Allin doing a coffin drop off.
That's what we were saying, that he was just gonna go, well, easy way down.
Darby, your parachute!
See you later, bye! I was waiting for the stitches to pop because he landed on them every single move.
And Jay White was tearing at them the whole time?
Yes! Going over that steel steps, it looked like Darby got way more air than I think Darby intended. Was my thought. And then tried to overcorrect and went straight coccyx into the ground. Boom! Like, oh, God! And you just see him scream as he hits it.
The coffin drop on the edge of the apron was disturbingly bad.
Well, you hear, I don't know how Darby gets up in the morning.
1 foot at a time. Mikey, was this too much for you? Do you feel like that Darby's just trying to kill himself because he might die on Everest? Like, that's what we're thinking?
See, when Darby cut that promo, it made me feel very, very worried for his overall mental state. Because he was very apropos and very despondent when he was talking about it. I was like, we don't want to put these things in the universe, Darby. But I understand where he's coming from because I know what that feels like is what I'll leave it at.
But he's also realistic because it's very dangerous.
No, and that's the other thing too. I was telling people, I was like, he's going to be climbing up the tallest mountain, chain in the world. And it's like, yeah, it's cold. He could get frostbite. He can fall. Like, things happen. It's life.
There's no oxygen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's nothing to breathe. Like, you're already set up to die.
Just like this match, because Jay White didn't let Darby Allin breathe whatsoever, because Jay was consistently on Darby every single moment, and he did not let Darby get hardly any offense in. Again, this was the perfect way to turn Jay completely. I mean, he has heelish tendencies, but now he's full-blown pedal to the metal heel. And this was what he needed. I enjoyed this.
Which translates into the ending after the match because they're about to Pillmanize Darby, and the Acclaimed come out to save Darby, which we talked about on some other stuff there. They come out, they kind of cool things down a bit. Daddy Ass is getting in Jay's face about what's going on. They're not getting along, and they send everyone to take Darby out, get him to the back, and Daddy Ass gets massacred by the Gun Club, and we finally have our break after, a month of them being together?
Ish, yeah.
It's falling apart again, and things are bad, and the Acclaimed get their butts kicked, and Darby gets Pillmanized and written off TV for the foreseeable future, and we hope you don't die on Everest, Darby. That's all we're saying.
Please don't die on Everest. That would be sad.
Are we worried that this is only a turn here because the Acclaimed's entire over flame that they've got going is completely out at this point, and we need to restart both these teams because nothing's getting across?
I kind of lean that way. I think we kind of muted. I think Andrew talked about this too. He's talked to me this on person and then on the other Biconics. We kind of muted the Acclaimed in spite to sort of create this 6-person whatever this was, and we weren't using the Acclaimed like we should have been for a while anyway, even though the fans are still in love with the Acclaimed, and we never really got the this is more to unpack than I want to talk about, but the last 12 months for the Acclaimed have been like, what are you doing, where are we going, what are you doing to them, between House of Black and then the boots and then coming back and then not and then winning and then disappearing and then blah, blah, blah. So I agree with you. I think it's a restart for both sides for sure. But again, and Mikey could probably speak to this too, it's like now you've kind of written yourself into an awkward corner. Like, where do you go then? You're not using any of the trios anythings right now. You could be, you're not though. Didn't we kind of tell the story at one point? Like, yeah, it's a little messy to me. But if it's meant to kickstart them all and Darby goes to Everist, I guess it's fine. That and Gunn took that chair shot to the head.
Oh my gosh.
Had the hands up and everything. The lip of the chair goes over and just boom right into the brim of the hat. So I hope he's okay. But it was a pretty mighty crack, in which the Acclaimed turned to hear, and they heard all of that. That was rough.
I mean, I knew this was eventually going to happen, and I'm going to be completely honest, I'm kind of glad it happened sooner than later, because I was initially excited with the prospect of the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, but just like the Trios division in AEW, we had no clue what we were doing, and then I sat there and I pondered, I'm like, didn't you guys create this group because both of you had beef with the Undisputed Kingdom, but now you've kind of like turned a blind eye, and it's like, I was like, that was the whole point of the six of you coming together, because you had the Undisputed Kingdom. And I thought that's where we're going, because the Undisputed Kingdom, lest we forget, destroyed the Acclaim and Billy Gunn. Anthony Bowens got thrown through a plate of glass because they were attacked because they wanted to help MJF during that whole entire cinematic universe that we had.
Yeah, I was trying to remember how they got started, and that's right. It was like, oh, you're the devil?
And
we're
then
coming
the
for all
Devils
of
beat
you.
up Jay White upon like his first few weeks into AEW. And so I was like, okay, we're going to get revenge. No, okay, never mind. Like, the Undisputed Kingdom is going to go after champions who really didn't have anything to do with being attacked by the Undisputed Kingdom. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
So once again, we're holding our our AEW Trios titles and our Ring of Honor 6-man titles hostage in this weird old feud. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm not upset at it, because I like that Jay White is heel. However,
Mikey's disappointed.
Yes, just like my parents. I'm just kidding.
Mama Leguio's in the back. Like she can hear you. So
Mama can hear you.
And
she all knows I'm joking, and I know how much I appreciate her. But setting behind me,
setting up for disappointment, Mikey. Setting up for disappointment. We know what's coming next, because as this was described, this episode was described by the great Ollie Davis on Wrestle Talk as the stacked card you've wanted to see, and also Chris Jericho was there, because we had Lion Hook, which Renee termed but didn't. You know that Jericho pitched that. Chris Jericho, Lionheart, and Hook taking on the Gates of Agony. When you can see a match where Gates of Agony, one, don't come out with Nana, which was very sad, but had amazing ring entrance gear at being like typical tribal garb from both of their countries, and they come in as the heels, and they are booed when they're fighting Hook, but they get cheered like conquering baby faces when Chris Jericho monopolizes the ring. You know something's going wrong, and you need to get rid of him.
Colonizer. Oh, I'm sorry. That was said out loud.
Yes, Colonizer was said way out loud.
Someone's got to make a move called the Colonizer, and I don't know what it is or what it does.
Planting a flag in someone's butt.
Oh, here comes the flag. He's setting him up for the colonizer. No, but it's got to be like they pull the legs apart, and you're on the top rope.
What's that?
And you're just going full thump. It's over.
Da, 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 da.
This belongs to me now.
I'm going to be honest. I was on my phone for most of this match.
Really?
Yeah, no, we can honestly skip this match too much, because there wasn't a lot that was well put together. It was sloppy. It was overbooked, and Hook did what they could do. I also wrote down here at the end of the match, wow, Tony Schiavone saying they work well. Were you smoking something at the time, Tony? Because did you watch the match I just watched?
I was like, what in the Kentucky Fried heck was all that? I was like, what is this?
I think Taz also mentioned the table like 4 times.
Yeah.
It's like, he hit the table. He just hit this table.
Anytime
the table right in front of us. It's like, why are we talking about the table?
Anytime Taz was talking during this match, I'm like, all right, Porky Pig, calm down. I was like,
oh, damn.
I loved his setup of his son, though. It's like, well, you got to remember, everybody, that he's got that lacrosse background, which he's got that reach. He's really good with long things in his hands. Like, he's really good.
I'm like, listen here, you walk-in sufferer succotash. I need you to sit down and shut up.
Oh, I heard the lacrosse line, and I was like, why are we, what, the most, I don't know. I don't want to run my mouth about lacrosse because people know better than me, but
Hook gets the win for his team, putting Khan into the Red Rum, and Khan, of course, eats the thing because they can't have Toa lose because Toa is actually getting pushed. So
I really liked Khan and Toa, though. I like seeing them.
We do too.
They are
we
amazing.
love the Gates of Agony.
What a horrible way for them to get kind of squashed. Hook landing that suplex, though, was pretty impressive. Like
he got good rotation
really
on that.
Cool.
That was crazy.
There's also a part of me that's like, in real life, there's no way you tap to that. Like, there's no way that guy got that. Come on. But
he's next to him.
Theater of suspension of disbelief.
And that's why you and Tony Schiavone were smoking the same thing that was going on at the end of this match.
I mean, yeah, I really, part of me is like, yes, Chris Jericho's there, but I really like everyone else. So part of me is still like, but I want to like it.
But you can't, and we're going to move on from it because it's not worth our time, because we're going to go to a very heartfelt promo. Again, Kyle O'Reilly setting up why we love him. Yeah. The fact that he's being honest about the fact that he couldn't lift his own daughter because of his injury. Like, that's how bad it was. Mm-hmm. And then we get the Undisputed Kingdom interrupting and sort of leaning into stuff. This was like the most heartfelt I've seen Roddy Strong. Like, he actually was being genuine. And then they leave it alone, and they make Kyle doubt himself. Can I take on Brian Keith by myself on Collision? Will that happen?
Well, then Renee leans in on it too.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where we're going storytelling wise. Kind of makes me nervous for sure. Or if the Undisputed is going to get involved and help Kyle win things, not win things on his own,
or cost him things by accident.
Are you sure? I don't think Roderick Strong should shout anyone's name anymore. We've moved past that. It's not funny. It's not working. You had a chance. You had a window to make it work. You chose not to make it work. Fine.
And now glasses are not a personality, so stop trying to make them a personality.
It's hard for me because I'm cheering for them in a way, because I'm like, I want you to do well and make me no, it's still coming off flat. God.
Mikey,
have opinion. Mikey.
Kyle O'Reilly is great.
Yeah.
Mikey.
I said this once and I'll continue to say it. I like Roddy, I really, really do, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But, sir, when you come up on my television screen and a wet napkin has more personality than you do, there is something very, very wrong in the way that they are teaching you to cut these promos. Yeah. I know promos have never been your strongest, Roddy. They were never strong when you were in NXT, and on the independents, they were never your strong suit. But, sir, we are this far into your AEW run that at some point, you either need to seek it out yourself or somebody needs to teach you how to cut a promo. Okay, because this middle America father with glasses shtick is not working for me. You're
looks
giving
like
people who wear glasses with a bad name too, Roddy. I'm just putting it out there.
He's acting like, if you guys have watched this YouTube channel, Pittsburgh Dad, who does Pittsburgh Steelers stuff. He's acting just like him and with half the charisma. Shout out to Pittsburgh Dad. We love you. You're wonderful. But it's crazy.
Really funny. I haven't thought of that guy in a little while. Yeah, I read a thing today about someone has a theory that AEW got someone in there to really work everyone on selling, because the selling has gotten really well.
Yeah.
A lot better the last few months for sure, and is in a really good place. But in doing so, the promos have been kind of sacrificed. Like, the acting has kind of gone south for some of them. So I don't know if that's true or not. That's something, but now that's in my head as I'm watching.
We'll keep an eye on that, because, again, the next promo we had after this was also weirdly sold, because we had Hook and Jericho backstage with Renee. The fakest laugh in the lion hook. That's good. I'll remember that. You pitched that, you idiot. That was your idea. Chris Jericho again, we said this in the match, just needs to take time off. Please go away for a bit. Let me miss you. I am so done with this entire thing. And Hook gets one word in because he challenges him now. He's got to know what he's like against him. No, you don't. You got El Kabonged by him. You've been hit with him in a match with him. You don't need to wrestle him. Please stop.
Yeah, I Hook Heart sounds like something dogs get, so I don't think you want to name it that. And then Lion Hook just sounds like some horrible 80s movie.
It's an 80s cartoon that just doesn't work.
Hook Heart sounds really bad. It sounds like a mixture of worms and fleas, but I mean, it's
There's
Chris
something
Jericho,
really
so
bad
it's kind of fitting.
Does your dog have Hook Heart? Give them this every week. Prevents Hook Heart from biting the dogs.
See, I thought of it as like a really bad, like C-grade slasher movie from the 80s, Hook Heart, where he's got to go in and like grab him.
That sounds like something cool. Big H, big K, big T, Hook Heart. Yeah, and walks around with like a heart-shaped hook and rips the hearts out of other hooks. Like, yeah, it works on paper.
Somewhat. Better than this promo.
This was the worst thing of my evening.
That's how good this promo was. We're making up 80s movies to talk about instead.
Hook Heart, the romantic comedy for horror fans.
Poor Hook.
With Kevin Costner.
Poor Hook is all I'm saying in this whole thing.
Poor Hook. Poor Hook. Let's send
Sammy
Hook
suspended. Sammy's suspended, so let's throw another young talent to, the Chris Jericho void, and it happened that Hook drew the short end of the straw.
Oh, God.
I mean, technically, all your other younger talent are also out. Sammy's suspended. Ricky Starks is MIA at the moment.
Wait, Sammy got suspended?
Yes.
I'll tell you that story when we get done.
When was that?
Tune into... See, if you watch the Rampage review, you would know.
What did I miss?
We'll talk about it later.
I will tell you after the review.
This next part here. Gentlemen, I have to ask you something. Do you believe in this conspiracy theory that my brain put out there, that the only reason we had this amazing women's match as the main event was because, we want to make a good impression to Mercedes Mone, who we've just signed, so we'll just put the women in the main event tonight. So she thinks it's like this all the time. Because this match deserved to be the main event, but why wouldn't have been put there last week or the week before?
I do think it's probably lip service to Mercedes Mone. I think Mercedes Mone probably said, I'd love to come here, but you need to book the women, get the women in the limelight, get these things rolling a certain way. So I think your intuition is correct for sure. I'd love to see more of this. I'm happy that they put the women in the main event and they killed it.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have sort of finally on Dynamite. I want to say this might be the first Dynamite in ever, at least in one, where the women were the main event like this, where they got a full time. I'm trying to get a timestamp, but I can't quite. It's got to be at least 15 minutes, where 15 minutes was a main event. You close the show with it in a go home show, like all the things lining up, right? And they killed it. So that's what I was saying. We finally have a benchmark for, do that. We know it works. You have no reason to deny it. I'm not saying do it every week. I'm saying you can go back to that well often and it works. The women are ready for it. Stop messing it up.
Especially because it's Willow and Reho taking on each other too.
Who are so good. Reho threw Willow around. Like, when Willow sold, right? But like some of these things were like, wow, how is this happening?
I want to say this really quickly because commentary annoys the crap out of me half the time.
Yeah.
But one thing I did appreciate is because commentary reminded me as a viewer, because I know a little bit about Reho and I've seen, some of her work. I forget that she is barely cracking 25 at this point. Like, she is still a baby. And the fact that commentary reminded me, I forgot Reho has been wrestling since she's been 9 years old.
She's a veteran like of 20 years.
She's one of the rising stars in Joshi Pro Wrestling too in Japan. Like, Reho and Hikaru Shida are like synonymous with each other over there in Japan.
I'll also give Taz credit on this because when she did her Northern Lights suplex the first time, he brought up the fact that like because Willow landed so hard, it's because, well, when you got a bigger opponent and you're a smaller person doing it, sometimes you don't get the full rotation because you just can't get all the way around. So obviously Willow got dumped pretty hard there, and that makes sense. Like, yeah, because you watch it almost like a botch, but it's not. It's physics. She can't get her over, but still really good.
Willow took a gnarly bump off the apron to try and smash Reho, and Reho got out of the way. That looked really painful.
I also was waiting to see Reho nearly take out Aubrey Edwards on the dive on the outside too. She Aubrey turned at the last moment. It was great.
This was so much fun. Again, I hardly any notes.
I loved it. This was a fun match. Was it the best technical? I mean, it could be a little bit better. But I think this is my match of the night just from the pure fun as a wrestling fan watching this. It reminded me why I love women's wrestling to begin with. Mm-hmm. Now, I totally agree. The pessimism in me is just like, the only reason this was the main event is because we want to try to make a good first impression with Mercedes Mone. Be like, women can main event too. I was just like, let's see how long that lasts. But putting that outside of it, Willow and Reho deserve it. Especially given the fact that Willow is currently like the darling for AEW, because since she signed with the company, they have been. I think she has had my favorite storyline so far outside of this current iteration with Ruby. Her, Chris, and Stokely is the trio I never knew I wanted until we got it. And I love that finally I feel that Reho is coming back into the fold. She's going to be here more. And I love that she is finally getting the recognition she deserves, because lest we forget, she was AEW's first women champion ever when she beat Nyla Rose for that to become the inaugural AEW women's champion.
We got that video package to remind us of it, which was really great on that part, but that wasn't the end of it. We got that whole big match. Everything went well. Willow's celebrating out there, and I felt for her also. Her tights were coming down the whole time. She's trying to pull them off the entire match.
Right.
Lights go out. Julia Hart and Sky Blue appear because obviously Willow's out for that TBS title. And the crowd doesn't chant for Stat, who's her best friend out here. Doesn't chant for Stokely. They're chanting the thing we learned 9 times at the beginning of the show to chant. And Sasha, well, not Sasha, it is Mercedes Mone comes out in a new outfit in her actual ring gear to kick some butt and take Julia Hart to task.
Listen.
That shot the Skylar Blue 8 running up to meet her was violent and gorgeous. I'm just gonna, and legs come up and hair go fly, and like, oh, she's not playing with anyone. I think they said it in 3 moves, and in 3 moves has cleared out the rear, or something like that. Like, oh my god.
I'm still not sold on Mercedes' finisher, though. I know why she does it. It just seems like the setup and it's not going to work on bigger opponents. So I want to see what she ends up pulling out for that. But still, Mikey, give me.
First and foremost, as someone who loves fashion, that outfit was just pure
fire.
The piece de resistance.
Her hair is so fun.
Her and Trinity must go to the same person, because Trinity does that too, and I love it.
I'm just jealous of
so
hair
good.
In general. But
Black girl magic, God. I'm telling you guys, like,
Professor's gonna do it.
I'm dead serious.
It's a matter of time before this turns a bunch of colors and gets braided as far as I can. But anyway,
I mean, it fits our LGBTQ friendliness that is this channel. So be an ally.
Biconics written in here, not in an awkward way, but like.
Free advertisement.
Like a 3D thing, like so you can't see it like this, but when I go like this, you go, oh look, that's obviously Bacana.
I loved it, but I like the fact that Willow and Mercedes have unfinished business, but at least at this iteration, Mercedes is also not above, helping somebody else out. It's more, if we have unfinished business because I respect you and I want this full match to go without the injury bug plaguing itself, which low-key, those of us that watch that match kind of want that too, because we want to see a full match between these two start to finish.
But the injury bug's been in AEW anyways. We want people to not be injured anymore. We want good matches. Like, that's where we're sitting with it.
I love that we continue to have Mercedes be at the forefront of big business, but we're also reminding everyone, don't forget, Julia and Sky and Willow are currently involved in this storyline, which has been prominent all over Collision and Rampage, which has been really fun to see. I'm excited when Willow inevitably takes that title from Julia in whatever capacity, however long we're getting there, because I believe Willow deserves to have a championship this year. I want Willow Nightingale to be a champion in 2024 because I think she is so over with the crowd. She has my favorite entrance theme song ever. Don't care. It's so cheesy, but it's so her. I love it. And I'm excited to see what happens with Mercedes and how her AEW journey goes and forever how long her contract is. I just want good things for her in the women's division. I'm pessimistic about it given what we've seen so far, but I think that there's an opportunity, especially with some names coming back from injury too, that you have the potential to throw the women's division into several different gear shifts. And it could be potentially amazing. It's just Tony and whoever is booking the women's division, y'all need to strike while the iron's hot. Don't mess this up because Mercedes is not the type who is going to sit idly by and let y'all disrespect women talent, as we saw from her previous walkout of another company. Yeah. If she did it there with a multi-billion-dollar company, don't think she ain't gonna do it to you too.
That's what I was just going to mention, is I hope this is a sign of better things to come. I do agree that, the impulse of, you're doing this because she's in town, but maybe that's what continues is, hey, Mercedes Mone is not going to put up with it. If you're just trying to do lipstick service or toe the line, it's not going to be enough, and she's going to call you on it and make you look awful.
Yeah.
If she walks away from it, she's not above walking away to make a statement, and it's awful and it sucks, and I hope she doesn't. But it's also no, I don't need this. I could do this anywhere else and be happy. I'm here. I chose to be here, and she wants to lift everybody up. That's just the impression that I get from what I read and from what I'm hearing. So, I'm hopeful. It's a sign of things to come. More main event women's matches, more women's tag teams, more anything.
We'll have to see if they give us that. We'll have to see if we're pushed that, and we have to watch. But, gentlemen, we are at the end of our time here. We are going to go through our ratings of this on the Empanada scale and keep it this. I want your 30-second kind of recap and your Empanada scale rating to get us there. Mikey, we'll start with you. Where were you on the Empanada scale tonight?
I easily gave this a 9 out of 10.
100, yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, easily enough. All I wanted Big Business to be was just a fun show and to remind me and everybody else why AEW has the potential to be a really good promotion, especially because they treat their special shows as fun, which I feel like the last couple that we've gone have been so blah because they've taken themselves too seriously.
Yeah, agreed.
Granted, I'm probably going to admit that Mercedes debuting in AEW probably added a couple points to my overall rating. But even with that aside, minus, Gates of Agony being colonized by Chris Jericho, you cannot tell me Chris Jericho isn't like that, especially what we know about him and his wife's particular viewpoints on certain issues.
No,
allegedly, yes.
Allegedly.
We know,
Allegedly.
and we know about that. It is very strange. But a 9 out of 10 from Mikey on this.
I thought this was a fantastic show. It warmed my heart to see a women's match main event Dynamite, which has not been a thing in forever.
I looked it up since Sheeta versus Toni Storm last year.
Last year.
That's the last time it happened.
That's a disservice. How dare you, AEW? But 9 out of 10. This was fantastic. I liked all the matches. I liked, what we're setting up for the future. And this was just a fun show, which I feel like AEW needs to do more of.
Professor, where are you on the Empanada scale?
30 seconds or less. I had this as 8.9, almost 9 out of the Empanada scale. Lots of great matches. Seeing Darby almost die, seeing Samoa Joe and Warlow work well together was a lot of fun. Yeah, a little too much colonization by Chris Jericho. I get it. Love seeing Mercedes Mone clean house and be there, and the crowd be so enthusiastic and exciting. I could watch Reho all day. Commentary always kind of a meh, but there was some fun promo things in there, like we talked about. There's some heartfelt moments in there. Will Osprey was on my TV. This was the go-home show, and it felt like a go-home show. It was fun. It was a blast. I hardly took notes because I was watching the thing. It was great.
That's the greatest compliment you can pay it. I'm right there with you, 8.5 right there, just because of the Jericho thing that brought it down. Everything else was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That is a pretty good thing of Dynamite. A big surprise, and we wanted a lot out of this, and we got it. It was big business. But Mikey, Professor, thank you for joining me this evening, and thank you for joining our wonderful BC WrestlePod fan as well, going over AEW Dynamite for us this week. We appreciate you being here. We really love that you've joined us either by the algorithm's weird Lovecraftian hands or because you're subscribed to us, and we love you. But remember, as always, when you're here, you're biconic. We're all biconic. And we'll see you in the next video.
I was hacked by a hacker. That person proceeded to correspond antagonizing messages to you, the fans.
This has been John Crosswaith reads X. Anyway.
That's a podcast.
Welcome, everybody out there in BC WrestlePod land.
We're recording.
I thought
we're gonna get a clean one,
but I was just like, "This is gonna be a good bit." So I'm here. Listen,
we're gonna get a clean one. We're gonna get a clean one. It's gonna happen. That's the blooper. We're leaving it alone.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.